Today, March 31st, marks a new era in the Pokemon hobby. Scarlet and Violet officially hit the streets, marking the beginning of the 9th generation in the franchise history. Now, befitting this momentous occasion, today also marks the beginning and the restart of the PokeNav channel and brand, along with this new series where I'll be taking you all along on my own personal journey of building a successful Pokemon business from the ground up with $0 and zero startup costs, and hopefully creating a successful venture that may inspire a lot of other entrepreneurs within the Pokemon space. In this series, you'll get a fully transparent look at my successes, my failures, and all that I'm doing along the way to create a successful Pokemon related business and brand. Everything from my business model to my sales data to my financial and investing strategies, nothing's really off the table here. And my hope is to provide you all with a real life look at exactly what it takes to create a successful business within the Pokemon space. Now, if this is your first time seeing my lovely face and you're wondering who the heck is this guy, my name is Shad and I'm just a dude that's passionate about investing, business, and of course Pokemon. And this channel is really my way of bringing all of those things together in an educational and slightly man-child sort of way. All right, Neb Nation, if you're ready to join me on this journey once again, sit back, double slap, let's jump right into it. So today we're going to be starting things off with what I'm calling phase one of building this Pokemon business and brand, and that is setting the foundations for success and building capital. And there's really 3 steps involved in this first phase. That is properly setting up the business structure and finances. Number 2 is starting to build capital with what I have on hand and then scaling from there. Another one of my big goals for this venture is to use little to no of my own money to get this started. I know a lot of you out there may be starting with very little capital or very little funds, so I want to make this as realistic and real life as possible for the majority of viewers out there. And then step 3 is creating a community of supporters that ultimately help me grow. So let's go ahead and jump into step 1, which is properly setting up the business structure and finances. Now, you don't have to be an architect to understand that the most important aspect of any building structure is the foundation. And the same is really true for business. And for me, that foundation is really twofold. That's setting up the business structure appropriately and allocating my finances. And I like to get this really taken care of at the very beginning because, again, this is really going to set the foundation for your long-term success. Now, having already built other businesses in the past, I've learned a thing or two from my industry professionals in this space, such as accountants and CPAs, on how to structure my business for both tax and legal purposes. Now, keep in mind, this does not mean that the way I set up my business is how you should set up your own. You should also consult with one of these professionals, with an accountant or CPA, on your own specific circumstance. However, chances are they're probably going to recommend something similar to what I'm discussing here today. So this at least gives you some ideas on where you can get started. So first of all, my business structure is set up as an LLC or a limited liability company. And as the name suggests, it gives me, the business owner, it exempts me from personal responsibility for the business debts or liabilities. Okay. Now, again, this may not be the best way for you to structure your personal business. Maybe you want to start off as a sole proprietor, but for me personally, I like to have that limited liability protection from the very beginning. So I set up my business as an LLC. Now, further, my business is filed and taxed as an S corporation. Unlike a standard LLC, the S corp filing allows me to take an income from the business in 2 different ways. 1, as an employee in the form of a salary, and 2, as a distribution or owner's draw as the owner of the business. Now, to get into the specifics of this, again, I would recommend consulting with a tax professional. But for me personally, I like the S Corp filing because it allows me the flexibility to take an income from the business in these 2 different ways, and it really allows me to save a lot in taxes legally, of course. I'm not trying to persuade anybody to do anything nefarious here. The S Corp filing is really great for my business. I've also heard other entrepreneurs within the Pokemon space that have set up their business in this same way. And really the big benefit here is that when you're able to take income from the business as an employee or as an owner, it really helps you to mitigate some of the taxes that go along with being an employee versus actually being an owner and taking a distribution. So this is a great way if you're really starting to build up your business, especially to a measurable size. It might be worth looking into setting it up as an S Corp so that you get the tax advantages of having this particular tax filing. So now that the business structure has been established, let's go ahead and move on to how I allocate my finances for accounting purposes. So for most business owners, when they set up their business, they also establish a business checking account and maybe a business savings account. And when they earn income, the income goes through or flows through their checking account where they pay their bills, their expenses. Everything really flows through just this checking account. Now, the problem with this is that for a lot of business owners, they do a terrible job of really actualizing how much they need to be taking as profit from the business and paying themselves appropriately. The other difficult part about this is that you're trying to allocate all of your finances from really one account. Sometimes maybe that savings account can be used to pay for expenses, but very often it's really just one account that everything is being operated out of. For me personally, the way that I do this is through something called the profit first method. Now, the age-old method of profit and loss, the equation for this is sales minus expenses equals profit. Now, for me personally, we really flip this on its head and we go sales minus profit equals expenses. So from the start, you're accounting for your profit, taxes, and pay. What's left over is your budget then for your company to spend on things like your rent, your salaries, your material costs, and your utilities if you have those things. Now, for me, especially starting out, all of that overhead is super low, so I don't really have to worry about that. But all those expenses can be things like new inventory, that could be things for the studio. I really have a better idea when I'm managing my money this way of exactly how everything can be allocated appropriately. The other thing that the profit first method establishes is 5 accounts. So these are 5 different bank accounts that you establish so that you can allocate all of your different finances within these various buckets. Now, these 5 accounts are real revenue, which is basically everything that you're earning from your company. So this is just your income. You then have your profit account, you have your owner's pay, you have your tax account, and you have your operating expenses. Now, as you'll see from the table here beside me, the amount and the ratio that actually goes into these buckets will be determined by the real revenue range of your business, and will also fluctuate based upon the type of business that you have. So the percentages that you see here may be different. I know for me personally, especially starting out, that these percentages are different. But when you establish this from the very beginning, you start to allocate your finances appropriately. It makes it so much easier for your accountant as you're going through your quarterly statements, and especially as you're filing your taxes at the end of the year. So if you haven't looked into it already, I'll put a link down in the video description below for the Profit First method and for the book by Mark Malkowitz, who really established this Profit First method of accounting. It's really a game changer. I highly encourage you all to look into it, especially if you're just starting a business or if you're having a hard time of managing your finances within your existing business. All right, guys, so now we're moving on to step 2, which is starting small with what you have and scaling. Now, I've said in a lot of my previous videos, one of the keys that I feel if you want to start a business that's related to Pokemon, start with what you have. Start with the inventory that you have and then scale from there. So really the key to this phase is starting to build the financial foundation that's going to set you up for long-term success. And for me personally, I want to be able to do this without expending any, or at least very little, of my own money. So really the idea here is to begin selling what I already have on hand and doing so in the cheapest medium possible. So this is going to include free platforms, advertising platforms such as YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Now, what I will be utilizing from the very beginning and what I've utilized in the past is Shopify. I really want to build my own website and sell everything from there in the beginning, which I'll get into that exact reason here in just a moment. But what's great about Shopify is that right now they're offering 3 months at $1 per month when you set up your your new website. Now, this is really great because it gives me the advantages and all of the benefits of having my own website with practically no upfront cost. Now, at this point, I'm not really looking to set up or sell on any third-party sites such as eBay, Mercari, TCG Player. Why, you may ask? Well, first of all, they're expensive. When it's all said and done, new sellers on these platforms can expect to pay anywhere from like 10 to 15% from each sale to the man. And at this point in the journey, I want to really keep every cent of my money in my pocket. Again, guys, for me, the pivotal aspect of this phase is keeping as much in your pocket as possible, because that's going towards your capital. This initial capital is really going to be what builds upon everything else successive that you try to do in the future. Now, the other thing is, as a new seller on these platforms, it can be really difficult to stand out in a sea of well-established, well-recognized brands who the algorithm of these sites are already favoring and will continue to favor. If anything, I would rather consign my products, if I'm going to at this phase, with some of the big names that are already on there. Guys like Z&G Emporium and TCA Gaming, which are actually already very competitive with regular auction fees. And they honestly give me a lot more exposure than if I were to just start a new page or a new account myself. And it gives me the ability to move my items a lot faster and without really any of the hassle. So what I'd like to do now is give you guys a look at exactly what inventory I'm going to be starting with to build the initial capital for this business venture. So here you have it, guys. Here is a portion of the products that I'm going to be starting with to build the initial capital for this business. There's a lot of different things in here that I've got. There's also some over here, which we'll get to here in just a moment. But this is what I'm going to be utilizing to build the initial capital. Now, the products that you're seeing here, these are the total of all of this is anywhere from about $5,000 to $9,000, which is a great way, or is a great amount to really build that initial capital that we're going to need for everything else moving forward. So let's jump into some of it here. Oh, one last thing that I want to let you all in on. So at the end of 2021 and going into 2022, I really sold off, probably 90% of my inventory here. And that was really to go into other investments that I just had a really good opportunity at the time that I needed a lot of capital, and I sold a lot of my Pokemon stuff. So right now you're really seeing like what is remaining. And I really wanted to include this because I know that for a lot of you out there that are just starting to try to build a business, and maybe you're trying to do this of selling what you have on hand, you might not have that much, right? Now, I probably have a little bit more than most people. I'm probably more value here than most people that are just starting out. But again, this is what I'm starting with, and I really don't want to try to buy anything more to put into this business. I want to start with what I have. So just going through again some of the stuff that we have here. We've got about 80 PSA cards here across the top. Here we have a Silver Lance and Jet Black Spirit booster box. I'm actually going to be selling those as individual packs, and that's what you'll see along the way, is that I have different strategies for selling things. Sometimes it's better off to just sell the individual packs from booster boxes rather than selling the entire or the sealed box itself. And sometimes it's better just selling the box. Here we've got some cards that I'll just be sending to PSA. These are listed singles. And by the way, if you guys are interested in anything that you're seeing here, you can find all of this over at PokeNavNation.com, which is my new website, if you're interested. So these are listed singles that are actually on the website. Here is a Japanese Southern Islands collection box. This is the Sky set, so it's got Mew, Pidgeot, and Onyx on it. I've also actually got these. Oh, there's another one here. Actually, I don't even think I listed this one. I think I only listed one. Well, there you go. Have to get that one listed as well. Here's the postcards that are in there. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to sell those. We've got the Silver Lance Jet Black Spirit jumbo pack here. We've got quite a few Shining Fates Elite Trainer boxes. Unfortunately, wasn't one of my best business decisions. I bought quite a few of the Shining Fates ETBs, like right before Pokemon Center restocked those. So they're right around MSRP. I think I've got them listed at like $49. But still, I mean, a great set. Here we've got some of the Pokemon Center Fusion Strike. These are the exclusive Elite Trainer boxes for the Pokemon Center. I've got also the Pokemon Center exclusive Evolving Skies ETBs. This is one of the variants. Here we've got some of the high class decks, the Gengar high class deck, and we also have the Inteleon high class deck. These down here, I haven't really decided what I'm going to do with these products. Again, sometimes it just makes more sense to do certain things with certain products. Sometimes you want to break them down. Sometimes you sell them sealed. But we've got an Eevee Heroes box set. We've got a bunch of Emerging Powers Black and White era booster packs. Of course, we got some Evolutions. These are my last Evolutions box. I never thought I'd be down to just 3 Evolutions boxes, but these are my last 3 here. We've got the 10th anniversary. This one's kind of cool back here. This is the 10th anniversary commemorative set. Pretty cool there. Had that for a little while, got it at a really good price. And here you've got the Evolutions box set. Again, haven't decided these, you won't find these up on the website just because I haven't decided yet what I want to do with them. I'm starting to see some trends within the market itself that may suggest that I want to do something different with those products. So let's move on to the other side. That's kind of it for the Pokemon stuff. Over here, I've just got a bunch of MetaZoo stuff. A lot of this is kind of like leftover stuff from the PokeRealm days. We've got some of the release event boxes for the Cryptid Nation 2nd edition. Here we've got some of the release boxes for the Wilderness 1st edition. I've got some booster boxes here for the Nightfall 1st edition, which kind of cool there, you know, 1st edition. I know MetaZoo hasn't really taken off like most people thought it would. Some tribal decks for Cryptid Nation 2nd edition, as well as up there. In this area, just card savers. I really like this brand right here, Pro Support 360 sleeves. These I'll probably just be throwing in as extras for people who are buying stuff. Here I've just got some bulk cards, as well as in this Gem Mint case, just a bunch of bulk cards that I just like to include in the orders. So when you order from me, I just like to throw in some freebies just as a thank you to people. Down here, I've got some binders. These are actually Dragon Ball Z Score Entertainment cards. This binder here and this one. So I'll be looking through those, possibly getting into grading some Dragon Ball Z cards because I know those have certainly gained in popularity. A couple different binders here of Pokemon cards. Again, I don't know what I'm going to do with that. These are actually a bunch of cards just from my childhood, actually. A bunch of commons, uncommons, things like that. And then, of course, hey, you know, we got the PokeNav cards, got to have those, right? Now, again, guys, this is basically what's left from my inventory of basically, you know, what I had sold off. Again, I had sold probably 90% of my inventory, and this is really what's left. And I wanted to show you guys this because this is what I'm going to be starting with, and just really give you guys kind of a, you know, a real life look at it, how you can start, right? Or how you can really get going with all of this. This is what I'm looking to build on, and it'll be fun to look, you know, maybe years down the road from now of what I started with versus, you know, where I'm at 5-10 years from now with this overall business. So there you have it, guys. Again, if you want to check out any of this stuff, PokeNavNation.com, and yeah, this is what we'll be starting with, and we'll give updates all along the way.
All right, guys, so we've arrived at the final step in this phase 1 process of building a Pokemon business, and that's creating a community of supporters that help you grow. Now, building a business of any sort is no easy task, but it's one that a lot of people dream about. And that's why I want to share this experience and this series with all of you like-minded entrepreneurial folks out there that are looking to better themselves through the medium of Pokemon.
Now, as many of you know, my exposure to the larger Pokemon hobby began right here on YouTube, where I began sharing a lot of my experience and knowledge in the Pokemon hobby, things like investing, collecting, business in general. And what I can tell you is that building a strong community is one of the most fundamental tools for success in any business venture, whether that's Pokemon or elsewhere. And when you provide that community with value through information, insight, entertainment, education, they're happy to help you, and much of the time financially happy to help you in your endeavors. So along with the other ways that I plan on building capital right here on YouTube, I plan on obviously generating revenue from my videos in the forms of ad revenue, whether that's on my regular videos or my shorts, as well as memberships. And speaking of the memberships, if you guys want to gain a little bit more access into some of the inner workings of what I'm doing, if you want to get a little bit more of a one-on-one type of approach to all of this, consider becoming a member, becoming a Nav Nation supporter. Not only does it help me and it helps the channel, but hopefully it provides a little bit deeper knowledge and insight to all of you out there that want to go even further into this topic of building a Pokemon business and becoming a Pokemon entrepreneur. So there you have it, guys. That's at least my initial plan of starting this business around Pokemon and around this brand known as PokeNav. I hope you guys have found this video insightful, and I hope you'll join me in future videos where I'll be going deeper and really giving a lot more insight and information on exactly what I'm doing to make this thing successful. I also encourage all of you to provide me along the way with any sort of critique or encouragement, anything that you think would help, and I certainly welcome any and all insight from the community or anyone else out there. Other than that, guys, I will see you all next time. My name is PokeNav. I'm here to help you navigate the world of Pokemon one video at a time, and I will see you all in the next video.